Hi music lovers, welcome back to my channel again. For those who are first time here, my name is Jenny and I run a free online music theory lessons on YouTube channel. The topic that I'm going to share today is very popular and I will share all my secret as I believe knowledge is for sharing and I want this lesson to be free for everyone. So I really hope you guys can do me a favor and subscribe to my channel because I need certain number of subscribers to reach a milestone so that my free online lesson can continue and gain sponsorship. For those who have already subscribed, I'd like to say a very big thank you because this means a lot to me. Today, I'm going to share about my top secret of scoring well for melody writing in ABRSM Grade 8 Music Theory exam. With the melody writing, a template that nobody talks about, but proven to be very effective, and have been using it to produce many big high scorer, and one of my students, Oliver Lin, has even won a songwriting competition. You can visit and subscribe to Oliver Lin's YouTube channel for his latest songs album. You can also reach me for individual online private lessons for discussions or marking your homework. You can also drop me questions or any messages in the comment box below. Without further ado, let's start the lesson now. Thank you. Hi, welcome back to this lesson. In Grade 8 ABRSM Music Theory exam, the question 3 will require you to write a 12-bar melodies. Okay, so for 12-bar melody, the best form that I recommend will be ternary form. Okay, so ternary form. Okay, ternary form is also known as ABA form. Okay, let me explain further what is ABA form. So beginning is a tonic, and with given opening by the question, and then so this is a section A. For section B will be a development section, which is a climax of a music. So this is a section B. We call this development section. Over here, you will introduce new key, which means you have a modulation. You can do a modulation and modulate to a relative major or minor or any other relative key. And here you can develop your own new melody or rhythmic idea or rhythmic patterns, new rhythmic patterns. And in the end, you come back to A1 again. A1 means the given opening is back. And the key will back to tonic again, no longer the modulation. Okay, so this is the basic form. And this is the template. This is how the templates look like. So the given opening is in bar 1 and 2. You copy the given opening. And in bar 9 and 10, this is 3, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In bar 9 and 10, the given opening from bar 1 and 2 will come back. Okay, the main theme comes back. And towards the end, you need to end the melody with 5-1, which is the perfect cadence. Okay, so ending the last two chords will be your perfect cadence. And then the middle line, we end with 5-6. 5-6 is interrupted cadence. Okay, give you a sense of surprise, or make you feel surprised and unfinished, right? Going somewhere. And 4-5, first line, chord 4-5 will be imperfect cadence. Okay, so on top of this, given opening, okay, A is given opening, B is a development section, and the end, the main melody come back. So do a modulation in the middle section, and also you need to use two techniques. You need to show two techniques in order to score well. First technique we call it imitation. The second technique we call it sequence. Okay, let's look at what is imitation and sequence. Example of imitation. Okay, over here we do it in C major, and chord 1 is C, E, G. Chord 4 here is F, A, C. So for imitation, you only repeat the rhythmic pattern from previous phrase. Okay, for instance, the first phrase is given C, E, G, and the next phrase you're planning to do chord 4, F, A, C. You need to have same amount of notes. You need to create same amount of notes from like what the previous phrase given. So in previous phrase, they give you 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So your imitation here, this bar is the imitation. You need to have same amount of notes also. So over here, I choose to use A, which is from the chord, C, which is also from the chord, and end with F. But this only has 3 notes. Okay, so I want to create 6 notes. So in between C and F, I add in passing note. Passing note means all these notes that I put crosses above all these notes. They need to move step by step going down. Okay, each passing note is prepared by step and resolved by step. Okay, that is the meaning of passing note. Okay, before and after this passing note must move in stepwise, move in step by step movement. Okay, next one. After you have 6 notes, by adding passing note, I managed to create 6 notes, just like the previous bar. So after that, I copy the rhythm. First 2 notes has 2 quavers, and the next group has 4 notes, which is 4 semiquavers. Okay. Next one is sequence. Another technique that we need to show is sequence. So sequence means the rhythmic patterns are same, and the interval between the notes are also the same. Okay, like what I wrote down here. So over here, the first bar I've chord 1, which is G, B, D in G major. Chord 2 is A, C, E. Okay, so over here I start with B, and then G. B is the middle of the chord. Okay, so I start with middle of the chord. B, A, G. B, A, G go down 3 steps. So in next bar, I'm planning to use chord 4 to 5. Because 4 to 5 is just 2 chords apart. The previous phrase also has 2 chords apart, 1 to 2. Chord 1, 2 is 2 chords, 2 steps apart also. So in next bar, in your sequence here, you also 4 to 5 is only 2 steps apart. Okay, 1 to 2 is 2 steps apart. 4 to 5 is also 2 steps, 2 chords away only. Okay, so chord 1 here is GBD. I start with B, which is the middle of the chord. So over here, you also must start with the same position of the chord. Start with the same note with the same position of the chord, which is the middle of the chord, E. Okay, so from B go down to G is 3 steps. Okay, I erase this. B to G is B, B, A, G, 3 steps. So your answer must be E, D, C in terms of sequence. So from G to C is going up by 4 steps. So in your answer, in your sequence, C to F, you need to have 4 steps also. And after that, you go down by step. You also go down by step. So if you follow the sequence, the intervals like what is given in the previous phrase, you should end up with same note and same position of the chord. So this is D, F, A, C. Imagine this D, F, A, C, A, C, E, G. So the previous phrase end up with G and with the 7th note of the chord. So your answer must also end up having 7th note of the chord at the end of the phrase. Okay. Now let's look at the example from one of the past year paper. Let's try the violin. If we choose this violin, this melody that is written for violin. Apparently this is in A major because it has 3 sharps and there's no accidentals. So deciding the right key is very important because you must remember at the end of your melody, your notes, the last note must go back to tonic note, which is A. So if you choose the wrong key, you go back to the wrong notes at the end and you're not going to score well. Okay, so now let's look at this A major. So first step is you have to copy the given opening. So very quickly, I split this into 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you copy the notes. Okay, as you can see, I've already finished writing this in bar 1 and bar 2. Bar 9 and 10 as what we planned and I shared just now. Okay, bar 1, 2, 9, 10 has a given opening. Okay, the melody come back in bar 9 and 10. Okay, you repeat here. Next, we need to do an imitation in bar 3 and bar 4. Okay, I circle in red color. As you can see here, I circle in red. You need an imitation. Okay, let's do an imitation over here. So imitation means we have the same amount of notes, and we are using chord 4 to 5. Okay, so perhaps I change to purple color. In A major, chord 4 is D, F, A, and chord 5 is E, G, B. So D, F, A, over here you need to choose the nearest note. The previous bar, it end with A. So over here you can choose A because A is the nearest note. After A, I will choose to go to F. Okay, so A and F, every single note that you write must have a reason. So over here, I choose A and F because you have A and F in the chord, and A and F are the nearest note in the chord. Now, next bar is E, G, B. So your bar 3 copy the rhythm of bar 1, which is 2 crotchets. Okay, so bar 4 should copy the rhythm of bar 2. Okay, so bar 4 should copy the rhythm of bar 2, which means you need to have 8 notes. You need to first create 8 notes first. So after F, you can go to G, because G is the nearest note. So after you choose G, you need to decide you want to skip to another note, another chord note, or you want to repeat the G first. Let's say your G, you want to skip to B. Then you need to add a passing note. Passing note, I use the green color. Okay, passing note is between 2 notes that are third apart, and you need to prepare by step and resolve by step. Okay, before and after passing note cannot have any jumping interval. It must be one step down or one step up. After the passing note, it also must be one step down or one step up. So this is the passing note. After you skip G, skip to B. Let's say you skip G to B. So S represents skip. You can alternate it with repeating note, which is a B. So you choose G, skip to B, you add passing note. After that, you choose B and then repeat the B. So between B and B, you can add auxiliary note. Auxiliary note is between the 2 notes they are repeated, and you can be one step higher or one step lower. So you can choose B, C, B, or B, A, B. So in this case, I choose B, C, and B. Okay, so B and B is repeated. These two are repeating notes. So I put R. After B, I choose to skip again, because first you skip, now you repeat. After repeat, you can skip again. So B, you can skip to E again. So when you skip, you need to add passing note. Don't forget that. This is because we want to avoid a very jumpy melody. A jumpy melody will have a risk of jumping to an awkward interval, and it will not sound good. So we are more encouraged to write the notes in stepwise movement. Okay, so now let's count how many notes do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 notes already. Once you have 8 notes, then you can draw the rhythm, copy the rhythm, which is 8 semiquavers. Okay, so the imitation is done. Okay, so this part of imitation, you have an imitation already. Next, second line, you need to have a modulation. First, you need to decide which key to modulate to. So this is an A major. You are encouraged to modulate to the key that has one key more than A major, one sharp more than A major, because A major is F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, 3 sharps. So if you want to modulate, you can either modulate to E major, which has 4 sharps, F, C, G, D, 1 sharp more, or you can modulate to the key that has 1 sharp less than A major, which is a D major. Okay, F sharp and C sharp. Okay, it's fine to choose either one of them, either D major or E major also can. So let's say now I want to choose D major. So your middle line will be a D major. Okay, over here, the chord will be always chord 1 and 2. Always chord 1, 2. And this is bar 5 to 6, and in bar 7 to 8, because we want to create a sequence, so the chord progression must be 2 steps apart also. So it's 5 to 6, which is the interrupted cadence. That's what we planned just now. Okay, so 1 and 2 is D, F, A, E, G, B. 5 will be A, C, E, B, D, F. Chord 6 is B, D, F. And in terms of key signature, it has to be the same. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. You cannot change the key signature to D major, which is 2 sharp. You cannot change it here. But you can add accidentals of G natural later on in the melody to cancel the G sharp. Okay, so in your melody, after you finish writing your melody, you need to put natural for the G note. So over here, this is our own melodic idea. So you can choose any notes to start with. So let's say I want to start with D. Okay, after D, I want to repeat the D. Okay, after this, creating 2 repeated notes. These 2 notes are repeating. You can add auxiliary note between these 2 notes. So auxiliary note can either be D, E, D or D, C, D. So let's say I choose the lower auxiliary note, D, C, D. Okay, so now repeat. After repeat, I will encourage you to skip to another note. So you can skip to A. So D skip to A is 4 steps apart. So after you skip, please smoothen it with some passing note, which is C and B. Okay, so after you skip, you need to repeat again. You'll notice I recommend this method to alternate between repeating and skipping note. So after repeat D, I skip to A and I add auxiliary and passing note. So after A, I repeat the A again, and you can add auxiliary note again. When you repeat the note, you can add auxiliary, which is a G or B. Okay, so over here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 notes in this bar, and I think 8 notes is enough because you are not encouraged to use a rhythm that is smaller than semiquavers. Okay, it will be very difficult for the player to play. So you add 8 semiquavers. Please don't add any more notes, because if you add more notes, the note value will become even smaller, which is like demi-semiquavers. It's too the notes value is too small, and it's very hard for the player to play. Okay, over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this will be 8 semiquavers. Okay, after A, the next bar will be E, G, B. So you can choose the nearest note to A to start with. You can choose to start with either B, or you can start with G also can. So let's say I want to start with G. So this time I want to skip first. Okay, choose skip to B. So between G and B, I can add passing note A. Okay, so G to B is skipping. So after B, I choose to repeat. So B and B, if I repeat, then I need to add auxiliary note to decorate the melody. All the green color that I add is to decorate the melody, make your melody sound smoother. So after B, so G, B, B. So after that, you can skip again. From B, you can skip to E. Let me explain why I choose to skip to E. Okay, from B, you can skip to E. From B, you can also skip to G. You can also go back to G. Okay, but I don't encourage you to go back to G because you already have a G before this. So I don't want the G to come back again. Otherwise, the melody is like repeating itself. It will sound like chanting at the end. Keep on da 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 da. So after some repetition, you're encouraged to change the melody direction to go up. Okay, now it's at the lower register. So after this, you are encouraged to go to a higher register instead. Instead of G, you go up to E. Okay, so between B and E, you can add passing note. Okay, between B and E. So that would be a C and D. Okay, so go up. Now let's look at the number of notes that we have. We have also 8 notes if you count it. If you count it carefully, we have 8 notes again. But over here, because this is the end of the first 2 bars, okay, so we are doing 12 bar melodies, which means every 2 bars is considered as one phrase. So over here at the middle section, you are encouraged to end your phrase with a longer note value. Okay, the last note here, the best is if you can end with a quaver. So the E, use quaver and link to another 2 semiquavers. Okay, so try to end this with a longer note value. Okay, so but then in the first group you only need 4 semiquavers. So one of the note must be removed. Okay, so one of the green color note must be removed. So I will choose to remove the auxiliary note, because by removing the auxiliary note, your melody will still be smooth and move step by step. So I remove this. Okay, instead of removing the A. If you remove the A, the G will skip to B, which is not so good. We don't want to jump to have a gap between the melody. Okay, so I choose to remove the auxiliary note. So over here you have 4 semiquavers, followed by quarter, quarter, and half count. Okay, so now you end your melody with a longer note. Okay, so end of the phrase, we want the melody to end with longer notes. Okay, now next phrase will be your sequence. Okay, let's look at the next 2 bars. We want to make a sequence here. So over here, sequence means you need to repeat the same rhythm and same amount of notes and same interval. Okay, now let me use the red color to indicate the important pointers here. So in the first phrase, you start with D. The phrase before start with D. Okay, D is a root note of the chord. So over here, your sequence must also start with A, because A is the root note of the chord. So you start with A. So D, C, D, C. So over here, I put A, G, A, G. Okay, I follow the movements in the bar 5. Okay, so this is from bar 5. Okay, next group of notes will be the previous bar is B, A, G, A. So over here is F, E, D, E. Okay, follow the steps. So the previous phrase ends with A. A is the 5th note of the chord. Okay, so here you should end with E, which is also a 5th note of the chord. So this is what we call sequence. Then after that, you copy the rhythm. Okay, same rhythm. So next phrase, bar 8 repeats bar 6. So it starts with G, which is the middle of the chord. So over here, you also start with D, the middle note of the chord. So G, A, B, B is going up. So you also follow them, D, E, F, F to go up. And go further up, C, D, E. So you should go up, G, A, B. Okay, so the last note is B, which is the root note of the chord. Okay, so over here, the previous phrase is ended with E, which is also the root note of the chord. So you end up starting with the same position, same note with the same position of the chord, and end with the note that's the same position of the chord. So this is a rhythm. You need to copy the rhythm here. Okay, now let's come to the last phrase. Okay, so the middle section is done. And don't forget to add accidentals, which is a G natural, because we are doing it in D major. We are modulating this to D major. So in D major, you should cancel the G sharp. So I use green pen to write G natural. All the G must have natural. Okay, last line. The melody come back. Okay, the given opening come back. Okay, over here, you should go back to A major again. So A major, you need to end your melody with chord 5 to 1. Okay, 5 in A major is E, G, B. One is A, C, E. So in A major, E, G, B, I will start with B. Because B is the nearest to A, you can also choose to start with G. Okay, so now you are the composer, so you can decide you want B or G. So let's say I start with G. Again, I use the technique of skip, repeat, skip, repeat. Alternatively, the movement of skip and repeating itself. So from G, I choose to skip first. Okay, so the previous phrase, all the notes in your previous phrase are at the lower register. So in the next register, next bar, I will change the direction of the melody to go up to the higher register. So over here, I will choose to go to B first. Okay, gradually I climb up. So between G and B, I will add A as a passing note again. So must have this habit when you skip from one note to another note. Please remember to add passing note. So after passing note and G, B, you skip from one note to another note. You should repeat the B. So you repeat the B and B. So between B and B, you can add auxiliary note, which is a C. Okay, after that, if you want to skip further, you can go to E. Please try not to go back to G again. Because if you go back to G, then your melody is always the lower range for entire 2 bars. Then it sounds very much like chanting. Da, 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 da. So it's very boring. It's not so good. So you're encouraged to change the direction of the melody to go up again. So from B, I go to E. So between B and E, I can add passing note again. C, D, E. So let's count how many notes you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's more than enough. So now you can add rhythm. Okay, so skip, repeating, skip, repeat, and skip. Now you can see this pattern is back again. Skip, repeat, and skip. Okay, so this pattern come back again. Since you already have 8 notes here, you can start to add the rhythm. The rhythm will be 8 semiquavers. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, the last bar is called 1. And don't forget E. Choose the nearest note from the last note of the previous bar. Okay, always start with the note that is nearest to the previous bar. So you start with E. So after E, let's say I choose to repeat first. Then you need to lead your melody, go to leading note and tonic. Okay, so this I also write down in the template. So please end with 7 to tonic note at the end of the melody. Because the 7th note is the leading note, it should lead you back to the tonic note at the end. So over here, E, E. So between E and G, I will add F. Okay, over here, I will not put any auxiliary note. Let me explain why. Because your last note, A, has to be a crotchet. Okay, this is a simple time, 2/4 time. So at the end of the melody, you must always end with a long note. long note, which is a crotchet. Okay, so before that, you can have 4 semiquavers. Okay, so over here, I will not add any auxiliary note because that will be more than 4. You only need 4 notes here, leading to the 7 note and tonic note here. Okay, now let's look at the last 2 notes. The last 2 notes will be your leading note and tonic. Okay, so 7 to 1. And these 2 are fixed. These 2 notes are fixed to be here because it's supposed to go back to the tonic, telling people that this is in A major. So the last note should always go back to tonic note A. Okay, so that's all for the melody writing. Let's add in the performance direction. So before writing the performance direction, you can erase all the working, like cadences, chords, so that you have more space to write the performance direction. For this question, because you only have 2 crotchets in a bar, so you will be every 2 bars, 1 phrase. Because this is the most basic form of melody writing, so this is your phrasing. Every 2 bars is 1 phrase. Okay, the middle section, I mentioned just now, you should end with a longer note. Never end with a semiquavers. And the end, 2 bars, 1 phrase. Every 2 bars is 1 phrase. For performance direction, you'll copy the moderato. The speed indication must be written down and followed by this PP. And then here is dolce. Okay, if the first half of the first 4 bars is piano, let it stay soft for 2 bars, and from 3rd bar onwards, then you can add crescendo to MF, moderately loud, loud or moderately loud. It depends on what you like. Okay, so the bar 3 and 4 dynamic should be the opposite of bar 1 and 2. If the bar 1 and 2 stay soft, bar 3 and 4 should go crescendo to louder dynamics. So in bar 9 and 10, this melody is repeating in bar 9 and 10, same as bar 1 and 2. This comes from bar 1 and 2. So if the melody repeat bar 1 and 2, repeat the notes, repeat the rhythm, the dynamic should be opposite of bar 1 and 2. You can put F if you don't want FF. It may sound a bit too extreme. If you don't want the dynamics to be so extreme, extremely soft and extremely loud, it's hard. If you think it's hard for the player to play, then you can just put 1 F. So let's stay loud for 2 bars. Okay, stay loud for entire first two bars of the last line, and the next 2 bars will be the opposite of the first 2 bars. Okay, so loud, the next 2 bars will go soft, which is the MP. Okay, now the middle line will always start loud because the sequence is like a echo of the previous 2 bars. So it should be the middle line will always start loud because it's the climax, and then the next 2 bars will be the soft. Okay, so this is just an echo of the previous 2 bars. Okay, so bars 7 and 8 will always be soft. This will always be the echo of bar 5 and 6. Okay, so this is loud. And then bar 7 to 8 is the echo, soft. So the middle line will always loud and then soft, loud and then soft. That is the part that you create your own melody and you add sequence. Okay, so I think that's all for today. If I miss out anything, you can drop me a message in the comment box below. So I hope this lesson is free for everyone, and I like to